Good morning. Welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak on this 9th day of September 2025. In studio, I have David Tanki, who is a finance and investment consultant. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. Diana Gishengo is the Executive Director at the Institute of Social Accountability. Good morning.
Good morning, Sam.
Feeling accountable?
Very, very, especially today is Tisa Day, so yes. You can imagine it is Social Accountability Day.
Okay, yes. Interesting. And you have Gabriel Muthuma, who is the Deputy Government Spokesperson. Good morning.
It's been a while, Sam.
It's been a while. What have you been doing?
Everything that needs to be done. But I can tell you it's been amazing.
Oh, yeah?
It's been amazing.
Oh, yeah. We have so much to catch up on.
We do.
Starting with that story that you see, orders put on ice, e-procurement protests, victims, a team. That is the story that is on the Daily Nation that you find. It continues on page 10 of the paper. Of course, what we were telling you about, that the two different... the High Court sitting at two different locations, one of them stopping the e-procurement process after the Council of Governance and a few others went to court challenging the legality of that system, saying that it has been hurried. There's no sufficient know-how among those people that are supposed to be implementing it. And at the same time, there is also the order against the panel of experts on compensation of protest victims since 2017. There's a stoppage order saying that the case arguing against that panel being illegal and unconstitutional. Gabriel, how does this affect the agenda of the government? If you had to start with the e-procurement one, which the national government, including the president and the cabinet secretary, national treasury, have been saying it is the surest way to ending corruption in procurement.
Thank you, Sam. Indeed, it's the surest way of ending corruption. And you know, it is something that was well thought out. Albeit the fact, from what I was able to see yesterday, it said that they were not against the system. All they were doing is that they were just putting it on ice, like you've said it. I like the word that you've used, putting it on ice. But I think at some point we really need to get serious about some of the things that we all know, you know, can help us in the fight against corruption. Now, you realize the debate is not an issue about fighting corruption. Yep. The debate is how it's being hurried. But I feel that sometimes we do ourselves a disservice, because we for sure know the issues that we faced when it comes to public procurement. We know for sure this is an area that is going to be positively affected if we institute this system.
Yep.
So I think, yes, it's good. We wait for what we would call in Kiswahili uamuzi wa koti.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we need to understand the urgency of the moment.
Urgency of the moment. But that has been partly the challenge of the rollout. So what does the government do?
Sam, it's not that we've not tried. You remember in the last administration, they knew there was a problem when it came to procurement. And we saw the rollout of so many things, including, what were they called, those machines, the polygraph machines, you remember? There was a time where they used to measure your heart to see whether you're telling the truth or not. There was a time...
It was an announcement, but I don't think it was implemented.
And, well, I think the machines were bought, you remember. And you remember there was also a time where supply chain managers, accountants, were all sent home en masse.
Yeah.
So we are not coming from a backdrop of not understanding there's a problem. We all know there's a problem, and it has taken time to implement. So here we come up with a system, even though I've had people saying, oh, it's another route for corruption. I have not seen a government, Sam, if we are to be honest, a government that's really wanting to be transparent and accountable, instituting and leveraging on technology, wanting to make everything out there open. At the same time, we are pointing fingers and saying that that administration is corrupt. So I do not think those two statements can actually be used in the same sentence. But at the same time, I think it's the high time. We looked at the urgency of the moment. And here I'm talking about corruption and what we know this system is coming to do.
Diana, so of course we leave for the courts to make a determination on whether this process should go on or not. But you look at a situation where procurement has stalled in all institutions in government, whether it's at the counties or national level. Then there's a challenge on service delivery. What lessons must we learn? Because yes, the court has stopped the process, but it hasn't stopped common sense, has it?
No, it hasn't. I hope we learn. One is to agree that procurement and corruption in Kenya, procurement is our weakest. We have done research over the years that 70% of all corruption incidences are procurement related. And e-procurement has been on the table, floated for the last 5 years.
Yep.
And multilateral partners like the World Bank have really been working at this. When I saw the court order that stopped this, one of the things they quoted is the law. The law as is states that you can use manual and electronic. Yet we went ahead and declared that we have gone entirely electronic. When we do hasty reforms, like we've done across other systems, including SHIF, and we do not factor the proper transition, we impact people very, very negatively.
Right.
When we stall services that are responsible for actualizing human rights, then you can be sure the courts will stop them. What was so difficult about implementing this in a staggered way?
Right.
Why the hard deadline? Okay? And executive pronouncement. Remember, we are a devolved system of government. I have actually argued that you cannot run IFMIS and e-procurement across all the counties in the same way. Mm-hmm. It would have been an opportunity to even test the innovations across all our counties. But because we have never departed from imagining that we are a centralized system of government, everything is planned that way, and then, what are they called? Proclamations, exclamations are issued for people to follow. When you do that,
proclamations.
English is hard. Inertia.
English is not hard.
You proclaim. English
is not hard.
Proclamations, yes.
They are proclamations.
Yes.
Even and especially when people are religious, they proclaim instead of ensuring that instead of ensuring that everything is rolled out in a procedural way that ensures there is accountability end to end, and accountability comes with delivery. If the system is not delivering, is not being properly tested, then it will become problematic. And I think whenever a process becomes problematic, in most instances, the court will say, go back and rethink. Was this system stopped for 18 months? That was also quite shocking. And I have seen the government try to initiate very many things around anti-corruption. But I'm worried about the intention when it is not done thoroughly, because now the excuse will be the courts stopped them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry,
I'll get back to you. Let me hear from David first. Your thoughts about this, because, like I said, it's still a matter that we have to wait for the courts to determine. But what do we need to learn? Because before this order, there had been voices from the Council of Governors, from different stakeholders telling the National Treasury that this is going to affect us. We're unable to deliver even the essential services or procure essential commodities. But nobody was listening.
In my former life, I was involved in a lot of technology rollout and systems implementation. And I can tell you that traditionally, not just in Kenya, but almost everywhere, every time you are implementing a system, there will always be a resistance. It's almost natural that there will always be a resistance. Why? Because people suspect this system may not be up to good. It's how to take out jobs. There are a number of things that I always say about new systems. When I look at what is happening about e-procurement currently, I think it is just a normal thing that has been there from ages, where if you want to do, and you will remember even the digital migration, everybody will first of all resist and say this thing is not helping us, it's not good for the country. But in the fullness of time, you discover that it was actually the right thing. I think, to me, the e-procurement is actually a blessing to the country. That is no doubt. In terms of the process, how it was rolled out, I am tempted to believe that now, from a technology perspective, that what has happened is actually good for us. Because if you don't do that, Sam, people will cripple it. And people will frustrate it. And it is not the first time that a good thing is being brought down. It's happened over the years. In the 90s, it happened. So I think for me, as a country, we just need to bite the bullet, accept that this is good for us, and accept that it will really help to cure a lot of the malpractices and the corruption issues that are there. And if we be truthful to the need to actually fight corruption, then I think the e-procurement is one of the many ways we can actually achieve that.
Okay. And of course, the other issue, I know, Gabriel, you want to add something. The other issue is about the compensation, the panel of experts on compensation of protest victims that has been stopped momentarily so that the petition before the court can be heard and determined. Does this derail the intentions of the government?
Yes and no. And just before I comment on that, allow me to, just bring again to the fore on what Diana has alluded to, talking about a manual system and knowing there's a problem, and that's what she was alluding to. Sam, I was telling people, the minute you come into contact with knowledge, the next thing we expect out of you is to be responsible and do something, right? And we cannot say, just because we have been in a situation where we know pilferage has been the order of the day, just because the system has been implemented, now we need to wait. As people continue to pilferage, as people continue to do all the crazy things that they have been doing, we've come into contact with the knowledge. You heard just the other day when the president said he's a consumer of raw intelligence. That tells me he has the knowledge. And when he comes into contact with that knowledge, the next thing we as Kenyans expect is for him to take responsibility. When I looked at the system, because I was asking the very same questions people are asking, and I sat down with now people who know. Forget what you were reading in some of the tabloids, across town. And, to look at it on the mandatory digital platform, I look at the full transparency. Every purchase will be traceable. As citizens will know, number one, what was bought, at what cost, and from which supplier. I mean, that's something that has never been done. To me, that tells me there is somebody who's responsible. Number two, when you look at the end of corruption, the system blocks inflated prices. Will
that affect all sort of procurement?
Anything that's part of the public sector. But Sam, you'll be able to know who supplied what, at what cost. Not only that, the level of, leveraging the playing field. There are people some who will tell you, I would never even dare work with government or supply in government because I don't know how.
So then, if that is the intention of the government, and it's important to bring that issue, if that is the intention of the government, why is it that certain procurement opportunities are never disclosed? Case in point, Talanta Stadium.
Who said it wasn't disclosed?
When was it?
Who said it wasn't disclosed? Sam, who said it wasn't disclosed?
I am referring to a situation, and I think we've spoken about this before on the show.
We have.
Once upon a time.
We knew, Sam, on the Talanta Stadium.
For context, just a moment.
We knew.
I'll give you an opportunity to answer, provided the context.
But the data I have, we all knew how much the stadium cost. We knew who did it. At the very least, that's the information I have. I don't know the kind of information that...
So let me explain.
All right.
Once upon a time, Principal Secretary Sports, Engineer Tum, then, appeared before the sports committee. He was asked by the members of that committee, how much is the Talanta Stadium going to cost? Who is the contractor? He looked at them, he had no answers, and he said, that's a question for the defense. And the members were wondering, how is it a project within the sports department is being implemented by the KDF, and the PS does not even know the cost of it. It is until March or April this year that CSO Ipantuya came forward and provided the details.
Correct.
So the question I'm asking, if the intention of the government is to make sure procurement opportunities are transparent and information is available to Kenyans, why is it that a project a project like Talanta, information comes once you're ready I think it was 37% completion.
Yes.
No, there are some things, obviously, where you... And in fact, let me answer your question in a way, because you mentioned defense. There are procurements or types of procurements that will be hidden from public. That's a fact.
Why?
National intelligence, because that's what it is. National Intelligence Service, the Department of Defense, and actually, you cannot put that out in the open for your whoever, your enemies to know what you're purchasing. That is just a fact. It does not only happen in Kenya, it happens
So that includes
globally.
a stadium?
No, you just told me yourself that the
telling you
cabinet
the
secretary,
information came
later.
at
Yes, but
37%
indeed came. But indeed it came. That's what you're saying,
Late.
right? Yes, it came. You've just told us the CS Defense came and actually brought that information outward,
March
and now you have
2025.
Correct. All right.
Okay, do you understand the question I'm asking?
No, you are the one who's not understanding.
Let me then explain my question. How is it that a procurement can actually be completed?
We are talking.
The rollout of a program
We are-
is on course. At 37%, that's when the information is made available.
Sam, I've repeated to you again. There are certain aspects of purchases within government that even ourselves who are in government will not know. It did not
Even with
happen.
the e-procurement system.
It did not happen. Of course, it did not start with this administration. It's always been there. Allow me to finish what I was telling you. The equal chance of business, every qualified suppliers will compete fairly. To me, that's an amazing thing. Faster delivery, obviously, hospitals and projects will receive supplies on time, cutting unnecessary delays. Efficiency and accountability, we cannot overemphasize on that, Sam. And protecting taxpayers' money, that's what we've been saying all along. We want our president, we want the administration to protect our taxpayers. We were the first people saying, we do not want the national government to spend our taxes badly. We do not want the county government to spend our taxes badly. So here we are saying there is this system where me and you, Sam, now, you don't need to call anybody. You can go and see who is actually doing business with government. If you don't call that kudos, then I don't know what you will ever clap for in this.
All right. Allow me to introduce Odhiambo Ramogo. He's an economist and CEO at Elim Capital. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And I don't know if you have something to say about that conversation on e-procurement, because it's been stopped by the courts for a moment. Anything to add?
Thank you, and sorry I'm late. It's been a while since I was on TV. I didn't remember what time this show starts. Thank you. On one hand, yes, technology has always been a game changer. And it allows as many people as possible to access opportunities that they previously could not.
Yeah.
E-procurement electronic procurement services or digitizing procurement services would be a great progress forward. And if we are digitizing, I also hope that it will be end-to-end. Because right now they advertise digitally, but you have to submit with those very huge bundles of photocopies, and they always find an error if they don't want you in the procurement. So now having that technology will ensure that I don't have to submit all that bundle. I think it's beautiful. Now, on the other hand, we've had technology before that have been frustrated by guys in government who are keen to ensure that their corruption enterprise proceeds or carries on. And so while I am hopeful about the technology being useful, I think I would say I am not very sure about the will of the people in government to ensure that this technology is implemented fully and to the latter. And I think that is where the bone of contention is. That is what I wait to observe from government if they are really considering implementing this to the full.
What should an e-procurement system mean for some of the procurement opportunities it's referring to that have to be hidden from the public, including Talanta Stadium?
Well, first of all, the truth of the matter is what he's trying to tell you in short, in very good and smooth language, is that the technology will not solve the transparency issue with procurement. In other words, what he is saying is that there are procurement opportunities that will remain hidden from the public, whether you have the technology or not. Because he is saying, and that's what he's saying, because he's saying there are those ones that defense is taking care of. And whether they are stadia or weapons, they will remain hidden.
Right.
And there was a time that the defense in this country was running Nairobi. Even those ones, when the defense is running Nairobi, every procurement of Nairobi, including roads and garbage collection, will remain hidden because by law, anything defense should remain hidden. That is what he's saying. And so what the technology means is... that is what he's saying, Diana. Don't beat me. Oh. I am just making sense of what he's saying. That because it is defense, it will remain hidden. So I don't think technology will solve that. I think what technology will solve is our efficiency issues within procurement, which means then that a procurement that needs to take 30 days can take 30 days and not the 90 days or 120 days we are accustomed to.
Okay. Interesting. Yes.
Yes. So, public procurement, Article 227, and the law, the Public Procurement and Disposal Act, is guided by Article 10, 27. Our national values is not defense and security. Our national value, that is what guides public procurement. There are even no direct exemptions for defense. That is a huge, huge excuse because we are forgetting who these services are intended for. Okay? When it comes to proper security contract, there we are okay. And our national sovereignty will be protected in a different sense. We are not saying, tell us what cars, what armory you're procuring. But if KDF is being given Talanta, and then we must be shown what is the cost efficiency. One of the principles of procurement is it must be citizen-centered. It must actually just be citizen-centered. It is a principle that citizens must be given priority, even in public-private partnership. Now, if we are introducing a NIS system, and Davis has just said it's a good thing, one of the things we had hoped that e-procurement would cure is corruption.
Yes.
If it will not enhance transparency, why are we investing in it? Why are we investing in it? What is our biggest problem with procurement in Kenya? It is corruption. It is transparency and accountability. We need to know, was this properly bidded? The analysis ought to be available for everybody because it is our tax that is going to pay that particular amount. Who is stalling this particular contract? Why is the second bill of quantities being issued? Because Parliament delayed in approving money. It is accountability at several levels.
Okay.
If it is not delivering that, what then is it delivering? And all the time that it has been discussed by both the national government and county government, because I have been in spaces where this has been discussed before. And it was supposed to be a good thing, rolled out properly, that gives us value for money, that allows people like us to conduct our audit on procurement initiative.
All right.
If it is not bringing transparency, we have been played. Kenyans we have been played.
Sam, for the risk of sounding ridiculous, I think we are talking at two different tangents here.
Naturally.
Yeah. And sometimes it really...
That's okay, go ahead. What is the clarification?
It really does harm when we are talking about a system which we know will bring in transparency, number one, just like we have seen in SHA. Number two, accountability. Number three, a level playing field. These are things that we have been talking about. Now, I'll agree with my brother when he said that obviously we will face resistance. Has been there. We knew it would come.
Yeah.
Because obviously this space was owned, and it has been for the longest. by people, some known, some unknown. Some faces that are known, some faces that are not known. But we cannot sit here and say that this system is not going to be transparent, or it's not going
I think they're very particular.
Correct. And that's what I'm saying. We cannot sit
we
here
were responding to what he said.
and talk about defense and reduce it to garbage collection, and talk about our intelligence systems and what they will buy. And I mean...
No, I think what he was referring to, Gabriel, is that during the management of the Nairobi Metropolitan Service,
I understood.
There are certain procurement opportunities that are not necessarily open to open tendering. I
totally understood. And also, that is captured. If Diana was to be honest with you, that's also captured in the Public Procurement Act.
As what?
I'm saying there are certain types of procurement that don't need to go through the public tendering, like those agencies have given.
I thought you'd refer to the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. I think she was saying the Constitution does not provide for that, but the legislation, in this case, Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, Section 90, I believe, talks about classified procurements and disposals.
Correct.
National security organs and other procuring entities that deal with procurements of classified nature shall manage the procurements and disposals on the basis of a dual list maintained by the respective procuring entity.
Totally, Sam. And that's what I was saying. I think we are really...
But there's a rider here.
There's a rider here.
The Cabinet Secretary shall submit the list of classified items to the Cabinet for approval.
Yes.
And Section 90, subsection 8 talks about a person who, in order to avoid open tendering, procures items that ought to be subjected to open tendering as though they were included in the list of classified items, commits an offense.
Right.
So we do not know whether there is any evidence to say that Talanta Stadium is a classified procurement opportunity.
But, from what you've told me, albeit the information came late, you are the one who just told me that the Cabinet Secretary of Defense actually came up.
But late is important.
Let's take a break. I'll come back with the...
Late is not important. It
is very, very
Gabriel,
important.
please, let's take a break. I think what I was referring to, the Cabinet Secretary referred to here is not the CS Defense, it's the CS National Treasury. So if Defense or Sports wanted to come up with a list of classified items, they should have conferred with the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury, taken a memo to Cabinet for approval, and then it's gazetted that these are classified items. And you have a dual list of people that can actually sell or supply the KDF to build whatever it is. We take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about more, including the state of the economy 3 years in under President William Ruto.